So Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our virtual audience around the world, welcome to the 8th Atlantic Council Global Energy Forum. For those of you who have joined us before, welcome back. For those of you who are returning, or for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. As we begin this year's Global Energy Forum here at COP28, contextualized by an ever-challenging geopolitical and macroeconomic landscape, and I'll come back to that in a second. But I can't help but reflect on how full circle this moment feels since the inaugural Global Energy Forum in 2016. We've brought together leaders from policy, from industry, from civil society to discuss the transformative changes taking place across the energy system as we work together to respond to the climate crisis. Year after year, that work has proven more and more critical, especially now as we reach a true inflection point in climate action. President Biden uses the term inflection point a lot. He considers this to be an inflection point, a defining moment. CIA Director Bill Burns calls it a plastic moment in history. There's a contest over the shape and the conditions of the global future. Massive progress stands before us, but massive calamity is also a possible outcome. Uncertainties are everywhere. There's war in Europe, there's war in the Middle East, there are uncertainties around Asia. CIA Director Bill Burns calls climate, quote, a problem without a passport. It's beyond the reach of any single country, unlike some of these other problems where if you just get the right 2 or 3 countries together, you could fix it. The challenges are becoming more extreme and more existential than when we first started looking at this problem. The global stocktake underway at COP is revealing just how far we have to go to create a climate-secure and resilient future. Meanwhile, the lessons of COVID, as well as prolonged energy insecurity and market volatility, remind us that a Paris-aligned world cannot be achieved if we don't transform our energy system in a way which safeguards the energy access and prosperity demanded by individual countries and communities across the globe. Our task is taller than ever at this COP, but I believe the opportunity has also never been greater. Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber reinforced this at the opening of our last Atlantic Council Global Energy Forum, which was this past January, and it was his first speech as the COP28 President designate. We are indeed way off track, he said, to meet the climate moment, but we can only achieve the transformational change needed to keep 1.5 degrees alive by building game-changing partnerships, game-changing solutions, and game-changing outcomes. And that's what this series of meetings, all 8 of the Atlantic Council Global Energy Forums, have been about, and I hope this time more than ever. This is the perfect place to have these kinds of conversations. We see partnerships created in the diverse community of companies, NGOs, policymakers, and entrepreneurs, scientists, and others who join us year after year. We see solutions emerge from the ideas we debate and discuss over 2 days of panels, meetings, and workshops. And we see outcomes carried forth in the best practices, collaborative programs, and investment propositions that are formed within our community. I was asked by Sky TV Arabia yesterday what I would call this COP. And I'm torn whether this is the inclusivity COP or whether this becomes the solutions COP. And then it struck me, it can only become the solutions COP if it is the inclusivity COP. We can only build truly sustainable climate and energy future if we welcome all parties to the table. This means inclusivity across industries, inclusivity across communities, and inclusivity of ideas across a spectrum of possible solutions. And then you can come to the solutions. There's some encouraging signs of this COP thus far. the loss and damage agreement, the agreement of the 50 companies to net zero 2050, methane 2030, the $30 billion facility. So there's a lot of movement even in the very first hours and days of COP. The real question is, are these commitments, are these solutions carried out in the years that follow? And that will be the real test. A year of unprecedented commitment to engaging perspectives from across the energy and climate community and not being afraid to have the hard conversations or ask the tough questions is what has made this journey to COP28 unique. I'm optimistic that it will bear fruit throughout this COP and beyond, though I'd like to quote a mentor of mine who passed away recently, Madeleine Albright. She always called herself an optimist who worries a lot. And so I'd say I'm optimistic, but I'm an optimist who worries a lot. I'm proud that the Atlantic Council's agenda here at the Global Energy Forum, as well as our wider programming throughout COP28 and really throughout the rest of the year, every year, reflects this sense of purposeful inclusivity amid an urgent need to rise to the occasion. From the Global Decarbonization Accelerator Pavilion in the Green Zone Energy Transition Hub to our Resilience Hub in the Blue Zone managed by the Atlantic Council's Adrian Arsh Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center, I encourage everyone here to engage with us as we drive to a prosperous and emissions-free future. I want to salute Landon Durrance and his team from the Global Energy Center, and also Jorge Gastelamendi and his team in the Arsh Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center in the Blue Zone. But we also have many other centers of the Atlantic Council represented here. From the Mideast Center, I saw the Senior Director here, Will Wexler, walk in a moment ago, our Africa Center, Geotech Center, our Turkey team, our Latin American team. The Atlantic Council is all over the place at this COP because these are regional issues, these are functional issues, these are scientific issues, these are political issues. So with that, it's time to get to work, and I'm honored to officially open the 8th Annual Atlantic Council Global Energy Forum. And as it's opened, I turn now to the first leadership conversation and call to the stage Amy Harder, the executive editor of Cipher.